What the? Mom? Something weird just happened.
And what's that?
My game, it just powered off. For no reason.
You packed your charger, right? Wait until we get to the house, sport.
But it had a full battery, and the characters were acting funny. My girl's eyes bled. And she just fell out like this. Bleh.
I thought you said that game came from the adventure aisle. What are you doing giving her a horror game?
It did. If you look at the back of the case, it even says rated everyone 10 and up.
Let's just stay away from fantasy altogether, okay? Hey, look how nice it is outside, Grace. Oh, I think I just saw a deer. Isn't that neat?
Mom, how did we even find this place? Every time I try to look it up online, there's no results. And it's not on any map.
It's an old place, Gracie. People forget about things over time.
But an entire town? London has been around for a pretty long time. So is almost every city in the world.
Well, it was never a very popular place to begin with.
Listen, I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for it. An old friend of your mom's gave us directions when things were getting a little difficult back home. She was even nice enough to look into housing for us and send money for the trip. That's all you need to know.
I can't explain it, but I just feel unsafe here. I had the dream again. It was more realistic and scary than ever. I think we should find someplace else.
Look, you have no reason to feel unsafe. Please just give this a chance. It'll be like opening to a clean page for all of us. Just please remember to keep your conspiracies to yourself. If it weren't obvious, not everyone takes too kindly to it, especially considering your age.
Didn't we buy you a diary not too long ago? Remember the counselor's advice to write your surroundings? That should calm you down. Another author in the family isn't a shabby idea either.
Just take a moment to enjoy Mother Nature. Describe how the air smells, the breezes feel, how the sunlight glows. There's nothing to be scared of. The shadows are just that. Shadows. Not monsters.
Bella? Are those my bra straps, you little sneak?
Hey, it's not my fault you guys can't stop taking cat naps in the middle of the day. You should know better than to fall asleep around me by now.
No wonder my milk bags feel like potato sacks. Nothing's holding up my bra. Those scissors are going up your nose in a minute.
Stop it, Frankie! You're crushing Jimmy!
Jimmy can suck it, Jason.
Bella!
Nya, 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 nya.
Girls!